I thought a nice calm intro was appropriate for my 6th poker vlog. What's it been like for the last 12 days? Well, in keeping records for the last 3 years, I've never had a $5,000 downswing. I came pretty close. So what does a $4,857 downswing feel like?
Va dans l'iceberg.
Alright, this brings me to a new segment that I call Hands I Played Yesterday. Alright, this hand I pick up the 3 of hearts and 9 of hearts in the small blind. Under the gun +1 limps, middle position limps, late position limps. I choose to complete, and the large blind checks. So we see this flop 5 ways. Flop comes down 4 of hearts, 10 of hearts, and the 9 of clubs. That's a pretty good flop for my hand. I flop a flush draw and a pair, so I choose to lead out for 15 in the hopes of getting raised and maybe getting it in. So I do just that. I bet 15. The large blind folds. Under the gun +1 chooses to raise me 20, which is interesting. Other 2 players fold, comes back to me. I look back at my cards, and it turns out I don't have the 3 of hearts, 9 of hearts, but I have the 3 of hearts, 8 of hearts. So all I have is a flush draw. At this point, he's giving me a really good price, so I just choose to call, which I do. And that brings the turn card of a 9 of hearts, giving me my flush. It's pretty obvious what I have here at this point. My hand's kind of being played face up, so I check for a little bit of deception. He chooses to check behind, and he's giving me the eye, like wondering what I have, and that's fine. River comes, it's the 8 of clubs. I choose to check again, and he decides to bet 35 on the river. I don't know, I should probably raise here. But I just call because I misread my hand, and I was a little bit bothered by the fact that I couldn't read my cards. And he rolls over, what else? Ace of diamonds, ace of spades. And we win the pot. Alright, and one of these days I'm going to develop a more effective way of communicating stack sizes and position and all that stuff, so just bear with me. In this next hand I pick up a couple of kings under the gun. I have about 500 behind. I raise it up. A loose player calls on my left. A stationy player calls after him. Small blind completes. So we see this flop 4 ways. Flop comes down, jack of spades, 10 of diamonds, 8 of spades, and the small blind leads into me for $45. I'm pretty sure he's got some kind of a draw here. That's such a draw-heavy board. I want to kind of define my hand here, so I raise him to $145. The short stack calls off is $85 in this spot. I'm pretty sure he's got some kind of draw, some kind of pair and a draw. There's a lot out there. Gets back to the small blind, and he contemplates for a long time. It looks like he's thinking about shoving. No, so he chooses to call my $100 raise. At this point, I put him on a draw. I put him on a pair and a draw. I don't think he's got a set. I don't think he's got a straight. I think he'd protect his hand more at this point. So his hand is pretty well defined. My hand is pretty well defined. Turn comes, 4 of clubs. That's a pretty safe card for me. So he checks after a little bit of deliberation. And now I'm fairly certain he's got a draw, pair and a draw, that kind of hand. So naturally I jam. 375 goes in the middle. Goes to him. He thinks. Now I'm sure my kings are good, but I know he's got a draw. I'm hoping he doesn't have a big draw. Obviously, if he's got a big draw, he's going to call it off. He thinks for a while. He calls. And so I started calling for a good river card, something that doesn't complete the flush, something that doesn't complete the straight, so my kings might be good. River comes, 4 of hearts. I'm thinking that's a very safe card. I announce 2 pair, and the small blind says, nope, sorry, and rolls over the king of spades, 4 of spades. Such is life. Alright, I could tell you a bunch more hands for my downswing, like the day I got my aces cracked 3 times when I was able to 3-bet them pre-flop $75. That was a fun day. But I'm not gonna. Instead, I'm just gonna say that I've recovered most of the downswing in the days that followed my downswing. Here are a couple of stacks. And I'm happy to say I'm still holding crap on the button to a raise.